every single person that has adopted this perspective has immediately felt that they took their power back. Today, we're gonna uncover the possibility that every joy and every adversity we have ever lived might be part of a script we wrote before we were born. In the last video, we delved into the power of the mind and how we can use it to help heal our bodies. We talked about how the principles of expectation, belief, and focus can help our mind heal our bodies. We examined the incredible placebo effect, and we talked about profound personal stories like Joe Dispenza and even my own. Today, we're going to delve in something even more mystical, our soul's plan here on Earth. I specifically remember how my life completely transformed when I read these books, Your Soul's Plan and Your Soul's Gift by Rob Schwartz, and how this perspective of our souls having chosen every single challenge that we faced here on Earth completely gave me my power back. The theory here is that everything that happens to us during this lifetime, every single challenge we go through, is something our soul chose before we were born. In the first video of this series, we talked about us being spiritual beings living here an earthly experience. So if we're spiritual beings, where do we come from? I like to think that we come from a spiritual realm where everything is love and light, and where there is no duality. There is no right or wrong, there is no good or bad. So we come here to learn duality and to transcend and evolve from learning that and experiencing that duality. I understand our lives here on Earth as going to school. In this school, we can learn that duality. We can learn about wrong and right, about light and darkness, good and bad, positive and negative. When we want to come here to experience every single possible experience there is to live. So we want to be rich and we want to be poor. We want to be women and we want to be men. We want to be good and we want to be bad. We want to be victims and we want to be perpetrators. Because from the perspective of our souls, there is just experiences. There is no judgment. So each soul chooses their own challenges that he or she will face here on this lifetime, specifically on Earth, so that she or he can learn from those experiences, from those very specific challenges. And it is said that we don't incarnate alone. We come in groups. So, for example, in this lifetime, maybe my child in another lifetime was my mother or my father or even my spouse. In this lifetime, my spouse could probably have been maybe even someone who did something bad to me in another lifetime, because the people closest to us, whether they're good to us or bad, play very specific roles. And we come in these groups so we can help each other transcend, evolve, and grow. Now, this is probably a very tricky concept to understand and to fully grasp and believe, but let me share it with you and then I'll share my perspective on it. It is also known and it is also explained in these types of theories that even perpetrators are people who are close to you, that you probably had a pre-birth plan with your perpetrator where they agreed that they were going to do that to you and you agreed that you were going to be a victim to them. Why? Because both for the perpetrator's soul and the victim's soul, there was a lesson. And the only way they could have learned that lesson was by playing those specific roles. So as human beings, this is really hard to understand, but when you listen to these conversations that I'm about to tell you, it makes a little bit more sense. And it definitely just is the best possible explanation that I find we can have so that we can live here in peace instead of feeling that everything that happens to us is completely out of our control. So the way all of this works in these books is that we are witnessing conversations held between the author, Rob Schwartz, certain mediums, and then certain individuals and their higher selves. These mediums go into a trance and they speak with the higher selves, the souls or the guides of the individuals who are trying to shed light on why they chose specific challenges. And we hear about many different types of challenges, from poverty to physical disabilities, from terminal diseases to accidents, to adoption, and we learn why these souls and why most of the souls who experience these challenges chose that specific challenge. So, for example, I learned that people with physical disabilities sometimes, not every time, but sometimes are souls whose incarnation into this life is one of their firsts. So they want to experience life in a little bit more passive way, where they don't have to be super active and interact with life as much as people with full abilities have to do. They become these spectators of life, and they know that they don't have to be very active. There's not much expected from them due to those physical disabilities. Poverty is also a very common challenge chosen by souls. As we know, there are millions of people living in poverty, and the lesson that they come here to overcome is finding their value and their worth in themselves and not in their possessions. So once they learn that lesson and they integrate it and they actually have a true sense of worth and value in themselves, it is much more easy for them to attract and make money. Now, I know these topics are a little bit too far out there, and probably not every one of you will resonate with them, and there are probably tens of thousands of questions you can ask. And let me tell you something, I don't have physical or specific personal evidence or any other testimony that this is true than the ones that I read from those books and those certain experiences from people who claim they can do this and they talk to other type of beings that are not here on earth in this exact moment and we can see with our eyes. But, and this is a very big but, I've learned and I've completely come to the realization that this is by far the best possible perspective that I can have on life. And let me explain you why. Before I knew all of this, I always felt like a victim of my circumstances. So I grew up with an alcoholic father, and I always questioned why it happened to me. Like, I didn't understand why that had happened to me. Then I grew up with other different challenges like bullying at school, and then financial problems and problems in relationships, and I kept wondering, why am I attracting these things? Why are these things happening to me? If I'm a good person, like I really considered myself to be good, and I didn't think that good people deserved to have these bad experiences. And after I read these books, it completely changed my perspective. I could see that if my soul had chosen these challenges specifically, it was because I needed to learn something. And once I started to view everything like that, everything changed. Now, of course, this wouldn't change my past, but looking back at my past and looking for the lessons in it, in every single challenge, in every single negative experience that I had, made me stronger, and it brought me to where I am today, to the understanding and knowledge that I have of life, and to this never-ending seeking to be better and to know more and to expand my consciousness as much as I can to enjoy life to the fullest. By shifting my view of life and my view of everything that I had lived and I had experienced with this new perspective, I went from victim to active learner. And it really made me grow and expand my consciousness. It also helped me redefine the relationships with every single person I thought had wronged me. Like, for example, with my father. I understood that maybe he had a reason for choosing alcoholism as his challenge on earth, and for some reason I chose to incarnate and to come to this lifetime on earth as his daughter and to learn the lesson that the child of an alcoholic has to learn. And I understood and redefined my relationship with him at a soul level, knowing that maybe it was me who chose to be the daughter of an alcoholic, and he was maybe doing a service to me by volunteering this lifetime as an alcoholic so that I could learn my lesson. So I don't know if any of this is true. It may be not, it may be yes, but it definitely feels better and gives me more power and more joy to look at life through this lens than to feel that everything is left up to chance. So whether you believe in this perspective, in this theory or not, I just want you to ask yourself what feels better to you. being a powerless victim or being an active learner looking for how to grow and how to overcome something that maybe was there in the first place to make you stronger and better. I don't know, think about it, and maybe if you want, comment here on the comments below. So to recap, in this video we talked about our soul's plan here on Earth and how every single experience, every single challenge, specifically the harder ones, are things that our soul chose before birth so we could learn something, so we could evolve and transcend in the realm of spirituality, of souls, where there is no duality. And remember, regardless of your beliefs, just ask yourself what feels better and what brings you joy and what brings you more happiness. In our next video, we will talk about how our souls communicate with us and how we can hone that ability so we can listen and we can get the guidance that our souls give us every single day. How do we tune into the intuition and inspiration that they offer? A crucial step in living a life filled with purpose and fulfillment.